It's nice to see you back here. So last week we were talking about some of the problems that you had in terms of anxiety that you've been feeling over the last 3 months. And you had told me that it was mostly academic related?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you think you could tell me a little bit about how your behavior has been changing?
Well, I've been skipping class a lot. So I'm too, like I just can't sit through the class. Like I have problems with my stomach. Like as soon as I sit down, I feel like I have to go to the bathroom. So like I'm always getting out of bed and I feel like I'm being really disruptive. So I don't go to class all that often anymore.
Okay, now you mentioned that you feel like you have stomach problems.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think that those issues are related to the anxiety?
Yeah, because I never had that problem before this. For like the first 3 years of college, I had no problem with that.
Okay. Okay, now you had mentioned that all of these symptoms began 3 months ago when you started the new semester. You started the statistics class that you've been having some trouble with?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned also that you didn't have any physical symptoms of anxiety before that either. How were your grades? How about academically? How were they before this semester?
They were very good. I was on the dean's list sophomore and junior year. So like they were doing very well. I was doing well.
Okay, so this is actually a big change for you then?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you had also mentioned to me earlier that you've been having some family and friend problems, a lot of social kind of stress. Do you want to tell me a little more about that?
My dad has been telling me that it's just something I have to get over. Like he says that everyone has these kind of issues. I've tried like things, but I just like I can't move past it, and I get like jittery in class, and my stomach gets upset, and I just can't think about anything else other than like how I'm feeling.
Now, how do you feel when your father tells you things like that?
Like it makes me feel bad. Like it makes me feel like I don't know how to control myself, and it makes me feel like I don't understand like how to control it, because it makes it sound like everyone has these problems and that everyone else knows how to control it, but I just can't figure out how to do it.
Okay. How's the relationship with your family and especially your father before this anxiety began?
It was good. Like we're not particularly close, but like we did stuff together. I would say it's good. Like we were like friendly with each other.
Okay. Now, how about with your friends? You had also mentioned that you kind of were experiencing some problems with them because you haven't been able to see them as often.
Yeah. Before this all started, I had a lot of friends. We did all sorts of stuff. We partied on the weekends, and after this started, like I can still relax on the weekends, but it's like I still think about how I'm doing in class, and I think about how like maybe I should be studying more because I'm doing so poorly in the class. And I have been studying a little more, but it's just I can't sit through the class, and I can't. Like we had a quiz a couple of days ago, and I couldn't. Like I couldn't think of any of the answers. It was just all about like how I was feeling. That's all I could think about.
Okay. Okay. And also earlier you mentioned to me when I asked you to describe the anxiety and how that makes you physically feel. You mentioned there was like a tightness in your chest, and you said that your heart was racing and you had racing thoughts.
Yes.
Okay.
There's like it's kind of like it's like a fist. It's like in my it makes it a little difficult to breathe. And then I also feel it in my stomach. It's like it's in knots.
Okay.
I start to feel like nauseous a little bit. My heart does race, and like when I was taking the quiz, I could hear it racing. It was really going fast, and I get a little sweaty, and then all I can think about is how my heart's racing and how I don't feel well, and how anxious I am.
So that almost makes it a little bit worse, it sounds like?
Yeah,
Because
so-
not only, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like I feel like I think about how anxious I am, and then that just makes me more anxious,
Okay.
and then I can't like stop thinking about it. Like I try to stop thinking about it, but it always creeps back in, and it just won't go away.
So it's kind of like a cycle?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, you had also mentioned about your sleeping patterns, that you've been getting 2.5 to 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And that sounds like it must be a little bit stressful on you, extra stressful,
Yeah.
because you're used to 6 and 7 hours of sleep?
Yeah, I'm not one of those students who pulls all-nighters. I always sleep through the night. I'm usually in bed by like midnight or 2, usually between midnight and 2.
Mm-hmm.
My first class doesn't start until about like 10. So I've been having trouble falling asleep. So now I'm falling asleep late, 3 or 4. Like I lay there and I just can't fall asleep. And then I usually wake up really early and then can't get back to sleep.
Now, what kinds of things do you think about when you're laying there in bed?
I think about how, like, this is my senior year, and I've been doing so well for the past 3 years, and now everything's falling apart on this very last year, and I feel like that's going to ruin my possibilities of, like, getting a job or possibly going to, like, graduate school or whatever I want to do, and that kind of frightens me,
Okay.
because I was always under the impression that, like, once you got the degree, it'd be that much easier to find a job.
Mm-hmm. And now you're worried about what will happen after graduation because
Yeah.
of this semester?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then, obviously, as you were saying, this stats class is a huge cause of the stress. Now, what have you personally done to try to kind of make these like anxiety symptoms a little better?
Well, the only thing I've really done is I try to do like deep breathing and try to like calm myself. So when I was in high school, and when I was running track, they told us that to slow our heart rate down, if we just take really deep breaths, it'll slow it down. So that's what I've been trying to do. It works, so I slow my heart rate down,
Very good.
but it doesn't stay down very long, and then the thoughts creep back in, and then it just starts back up. So it doesn't work very well. That's the only thing I could think to do.
Okay. Have you tried any other sort of kind of physical things to help, like either taking walks or meditating? Have you ever tried any of those strategies?
I haven't really tried any of those. When I was younger, my uncle, he meditates a lot, and he taught me how to meditate, but I think it's really boring. So
Okay.
I don't.
Well, that's not for
can't-
everybody.
Yeah,
That's all right.
I can't just sit there.
Okay. All right. Well, then maybe those things are something that we can work on in the future, in future sessions, working on strategies that we can discuss and plan for together to help you better cope with your, at least your physical symptoms. And sometimes, perhaps that'll help you a little bit too. Mm-hmm. Now, what about with the mental part of it, the anxiety, the racing thoughts that you have? What have you done in terms of trying to maybe calm those thoughts?
I haven't really tried. Like I've tried to stop the thoughts, but they always creep back in. I've noticed that if I am like engrossed in another activity, where I'm like really concentrating on something, I don't think about it.
Okay.
But like when I'm sitting in class and all I'm supposed to do is listen, or all I'm supposed to do is answer questions, like there's just a lot of time for those thoughts to creep in, and then they do, and then when they creep in, they drown out what the professor is saying or what I'm trying to do in class.
Okay. Now, you just mentioned that when you're engrossed in some other activity, sometimes those thoughts will kind of subside. What are some of those activities?
Well, I play a lot of video games.
Okay.
When I'm playing video games, like there's just so much going on in the video game that I entertainment, think about anything else.
Mhm.
So I've never had any anxious thoughts while playing video games.
Really? Okay. Okay. Anything else? Any other activities?
I do some intramurals. Usually when I'm doing like those intramurals or when I'm exercising, I don't have any anxious thoughts.
Okay. Okay, and again, maybe that's something that in the future sessions we can explore a little bit further, because it sounds like that's something that may be a helping piece for us. So we're going to end for now.
Okay.